Hey guys, there's a lot of discussion on the Hobby Machinist forum at the moment about what people do for storage in their workshop, and a lot of people are struggling with finding the right storage solution. So because I have such a tiny little workshop, I have about 12.5 square meters to fit everything into. What I'll do is I'll show you guys the solutions I have for storage, and maybe you guys might get some ideas as to how to store things a little bit more effectively, if I can say it that way. So I'll just take you around how I've solved the storage issues that I have in this tiny machine shop. All right, let's go for a walk around. So one of the first things that I have is that I have these tool boards right at my workbench. So I'll just pan around here nice and slowly for you guys to have a look. So all my hand tools and the things that I use the most are located here. So if I take a bit of a step back, you'll see that my workbench is a large mechanics tool chest. I've just mounted a board on top, and on that board I have a bunch of tools that I normally use the most, like my calculator, and I have a micrometer there. I haven't quite put away my other stuff. The other thing that I have is I have this little laptop stand because I use my laptop quite a lot. But I don't waste any room on anything. I mean, all the drawers that I have here are filled with all different types of tools and things like that. So here you see a lot of the measuring tools. Here you have more measuring tools and a cheap multimeter that I pull out for dirty work. Here I have a bunch of sockets and some of the drawings. Here I have all my tap and die handles as well. So that's one of the solutions that I have. The other thing that I've got here is this small parts bin. So this small parts bin has a bunch of trays on it, and I use all of those trays for all my small components, and it means that I save a lot of room because it's quite a high parts bin. You can see it extends all the way down to the floor. So this has all the tiny little knickknacks, has all my carbide and everything like that I have stored. I mean, from here down is all carbide, so I have all my carbide cutters all stacked away nice and neatly. So then the other thing that I have is I have tool boards behind all my machines as well. So here you can see another tool board, and I have a tool cabinet, or a small cabinet up there that's got some of my metalworking stuff and glues. So if I turn around, you'll see I have tool boards running the full length of the workshop. Here I have a tool board, and it's got all my files on it, and I have all my sandpaper as well. You know, I've got all the wires I use for wiring. You can see all the cabinets that I have there for all my paints and all my lubricants and everything like that. And then of course I have the tool boards that I have mounted on the plasma TV arms there that I can pull out when I'm working at the machines. And then if I walk you guys a little bit further back, have some of the tools that I use for the mill. So this also allows me to double up on my tooling because I can store stuff behind these tool boards as well. So I can have twice the amount of tool storage. Now the other thing that I have is I have my big cabinet here, and I have things like clamps in the top, have air tools down there, and now I'm starting to get into the material storage. So I have all my yellow metals there and a couple lead screws. I have bunches of drill bits there and my Morse taper adapters. I have a lot of metal here that I can machine down. These are subsea valve stems and bolts, which is all high quality metal. Then I have bunches of aluminium and different pieces of metal there. I have surface plates and so I have surface plates here, and then I have my very accurate drill vise. And then I have more metals down the bottom here. So you can see I have a ton of storage just in this one cabinet. Then of course I have tool storage in this big cabinet here at the back. So this big cabinet here is for the milling machine. So this has all the different components for the mill. And then I have some bits and pieces sitting at the top there. But I mean, I even have a tool board behind there. I just haven't mounted anything onto it because I kind of run out of tools to mount. Now one of the other things that I have is that I've got these cabinets in the corners, and these cabinets here have all the small bits and pieces as well that I don't need to access all the time. So things like all my end mills are stored away nicely there. My high-speed steel tooling is stored away. Then I have other types of tooling there as well, chuck jaws and whatnot. So this is how I stay on top of, I guess, all the storage that I need. I try not to waste any space on pretty much anywhere. I try to have every surface kind of nice and clean, so it allows me to do work nice and easily. And anywhere where I can put something where it's out the way but it serves a purpose, that's what I do. For example, my rubbish bin is under the drill press, so I store all the rubbish straight under there because I don't need that space. The surface on top of my materials storage, I have a lot of the drill bits, and I have a lot of the end mills and things like that I need to access quite often. Have the longer stock stored in the corner there. So the other thing I do is I try to have all my cords and all my hoses on reels. So you'll see that I have a reel there, and then I have a reel at the back there in the corner for my extension lead, and that keeps me out of the way so I'm not tripping, because I only have a very, very narrow corridor in which to navigate between all the machines. So if I walk back there, that's the corridor that I stand in and I work in. So there's not a lot of room, there's just enough room for one guy when he's working. So if I go all the way back at the back of the workshop, this gives you an idea of how little room I actually have. So there you go, and that's the back of my workshop there. So I really don't have that much space, so I have to be very, very mindful of where I'm putting things and make sure that everything gets put away. Anyway, that's how I stay on top of the storage in my workshop, and for me this does pretty much everything I need it to do. All the storage is sufficient for the kind of work that I do. Right, hope you enjoyed it.